Alright, so we'll see right away how to do the SID departure. So the SID in Ottawa is vector SID, so it means that we're going to get vectors once we depart. It says it right there. So all runways, first thing we'll look at is this, all runways, jet aircraft, all runways except from 22 maintain 5,000 unless otherwise assigned by ATC, and we are non-jet aircraft. This concerns us. All runways maintain 3,000 feet unless otherwise assigned by ATC. So if ATC tells you that you're cleared for the Ottawa 4 departure, it means that you will expect to climb to 3,000 feet. So that's the first thing we'll bug for the departure. The second thing for us, it depends on the runway. Here, for in this example, I'll use runway 14. So how does it work? It's pretty simple in this case. It just says that we'll be climbing on the heading of 140 or as assigned for vectors to assign route. So it means that if they just tell you to follow the Ottawa 4 departure, just bug heading 140. And if they tell you amend your SID on departure, turn right to or turn left to whatever, we'll bug this whatever heading they give us. Here in this case, there's no left turn below 1,000. So if, for instance, instead of they give us something like amend your SID on departure, turn left heading 090, it means we have to wait until we pass 1,000 feet and then we'll be able to turn to this heading. Since there is only one departure, runway 04, which requires a minimum climb gradient, the climb gradient is provided right there. If there's no climb gradient given, you can assume 200 feet per nautical mile, which gives us around 320 feet per minute. So your plane should be able to, well, for Earth plane, of course, climbing at 75 knots. So it means that we'll be able to do it. And then communication failure, we'll be just reading everything as is. So under condition of failure, 10 minutes or less after takeoff, and in IFR weather conditions, this is pretty important. In IFR weather conditions, so if the weather conditions are not IFR, it means we'll proceed differently. So here, if it's IFR, departing around 14, so it's going to be in the first section. 10 minutes or less after departure, select scope code 7600. 5 minutes after selecting 7600, proceed directly on course. So in our case, our flight plan usually includes the VOR, so we'll just proceed to the VOR. Climb to our flight plan altitude, which is usually around 5,000 feet, and then we'll just come back to Ottawa or proceed to our alternate. If it's around 3.2, it's a little bit different because it tells us that if it's a non-jet aircraft, instead of climbing and maintaining 3,000 feet, we'll climb and maintain 4,000 feet. And if it happens 10 minutes after the takeoff, we'll comply with the appropriate procedures for communication failure. Now, what do we do if it's actually VMC outside, if the weather is not IFR? Well, in this case, we'll load an emergency approach, and most probably, if we lose the radio within 5 minutes after departure, we'll just proceed back to Ottawa, well, squawk 7600, and proceed back to Ottawa and land visually or to an instrument approach, such as the ILS-32, for instance. So for the briefing, just include SID. This is Ottawa 4 departure, effective from the 15th of September 2016. So this chart is probably expired. Will be a non-jet aircraft, so we'll maintain 3,000 feet, which is bugged. Then we'll use 14, so no left turn below 1,000 feet, and we'll climb heading 140 on departure, which is bugged as well. No climb rate, specific climb rate to there too, and finally read the communication failure and mention what to do if not IFR conditions. And that's it for the takeoff briefing. So now we'll jump in right to X-plane. Here we go. We're in X-plane now. So we'll bug everything. So the first thing I'll do is on the GPS. I'm not going to do everything, like explain everything again. I'm just going to set my VOR ready, 1146. I'm going to make sure my frequency is good. Here I'm going to bug 3,000 feet. Go speed, I'm not going to bug anything. VOR 1 is here. Course, I don't have to set any course. I'm going to set my first RMI to show to my VOR. Exercise and VLOC ready for the hold. I don't need to show anything in the second one, and I'll bug my heading of 140. So remember, it's heading 140, not track 140. So it means we don't have to take the winds into account. And we're all set to go. Then we set our transponder setting. So all this is done. You get the air for clearance, you taxi, you do run up, and at the end of the run up, that's where we pretty much insert everything to make sure we match with the approach briefing. As we're doing the approach briefing, we match everything and we compare everything. We say 3,000 feet for non-jet aircraft, which is verified and bugged, and everything like this. And we'll just set a scope code to whatever they give us. Let's say this. Alright, so once we're ready for takeoff, well, we just have to take off. The only thing we need to set is the departure frequency, 12817. 12817 is set. There is no rush. They're always going to say, once airborne, contact departure 12817. It doesn't mean that as soon as you lift off, you have to contact departure. Climb, do your after takeoff checklist at 800 feet, and then contact departure. The call to departure is, you'll see, pretty simple. Alright, so we'll just take off then. So take off, really everything as usual. My rudder a little bit sensitive. Everything as usual. Pliers set, cages in the green, airspeed alive. We'll rotate at 70 on this plane. Just rotate at 65 or 60, whatever the rotation speed is for the plane. 70. We'll set around 10 degrees of pitch. Positive rate, in this case we have a retractable gear, so I'll bring my gear up. And then we'll just climb on this heading, 140, to 3,000 feet. And that's it. And once again, we don't have to take the winds into account or anything. We'll just climb on this heading, 140. Okay, reaching 800 feet is where we do after takeoff checks. And then here I'm gonna contact departure, so switch to departure frequency 12817. And the call is pretty standard. Ottawa departure, this is whatever, Golf, Kilo, Golf, Quebec, Yankee, India, passing 1,000 feet for 3,000 feet airborne 14. And then I'm gonna answer you, climb 5,000 feet runway heading, for instance, or whatever they can give you already vectors for the VOR, because then they want you, they know that you want to go to the VOR. They can tell you just maintain 3,000 feet runway heading. It really depends on the situation. So in this case, let's say they tell us proceed direct to the VOR. Well, in this case, we're clear direct to the VOR and climb 5,000 feet, for instance. So I'll bug 5,000 feet. At the same time, I'm turning to my RMI needle. 5,000 feet is bugged, and I'm turning to my RMI needle. All turns, right one turn, and that's pretty much it for now. Then we'll just proceed to VOR. We'll get our holding clearance, and that's it. So I'm just gonna turn until we're going direct to the VOR. When you're at 4,000 feet in this case, so 1,000 feet below, we can say out loud in cockpit 1,000 below. And when you're at 4,900 feet, we're 100 feet below, so you can say 100 feet below, and then we'll level off at 5,000 feet. Here we go, I'm almost facing the RMI needle. Here we go, I'm facing the RMI needle, and now I'm going direct to the VOR, which means that my HSI is ready to be used for the hold once I get my holding clearance. Remember that when you get probably like terminal or departure is going to tell you I have a holding clearance for you when ready to copy. If you are not ready to copy, say just stand by or call you back, because if you're doing something else, I don't know, leveling off or dealing with something else with a GPS setup, or dealing with the examiner or the instructor, or dealing with whatever scenario which doesn't allow you to be 100% focused on getting the clearance and writing down the clearance, just tell them. You don't have to do everything as they say. It's not because they tell you that they have a clearance ready that you have to take it now. You can take it in 30 seconds if you have something else to do. And that's it for SID departure. So in Canada, it's pretty straightforward. Runway heading to a specific altitude. Just make sure you read the chart. And that's the SID departure. Hope you enjoyed, and next video will be on holds.